Oh no! Oh no! Exhaust manifold is now free. I'll slide that. Whoa! Woo! Yep, I got scared. You heard that. Hey guys, welcome back to Johnny Boy's Garage. I plan on finishing up the motor this week. That includes timing, installing our camshafts, intake, exhaust, everything we need to have this motor ready to go in the Corolla. If you guys have missed any of the previous episodes, this is where we're at. But with that, let's go ahead, get our camshafts installed, put our timing guides in, and start setting timing for this thing. So the motor's been sitting for a little bit. I'll start by wiping all this down. Make sure we don't have any dirt. It's going to tear stuff up. Get our engine assembly lube. And we're going to go ahead and just coat this stuff up pretty good. Probably a little bit too much, but too much engine assembly lube I don't think's ever hurt anything. Had the air conditioner running in here all day and it still feels just as hot as when I walked in here. And we're going to want to set this so the cam lobes face. So we're going to want the cam lobes to sit right there ish. Probably somewhere in that neighborhood. And I want these ones to sit pretty much like that. And go ahead. We're not tightening these down. We are just gonna start these so that they're skip the step. We should probably wipe these down, put lube on them, just so that it's there. And these do come from the factory. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. They do come pre-marked, so be kind of hard to mess up where these are supposed to go. And when I pulled them, I just left the bolts in the cap so I didn't back. I cannot speak today. That has been the story of my life. So I'm just applying the lube directly to the camshafts. So now all I have to do is wipe down the caps as I set them in place. Make sure your arrow is facing forward. Those are all facing forward and numbered in the correct sequence. I do have to pull up torque specs because I couldn't tell you what they are off the top of my head. Now, one more cap to install. I'm just going to run these down until they hit the cap. And then I'm going to pull my phone out and bring up my torque specs and tightening sequence as well. And I've noticed the timing cover has quite the odd sequence and random different torque specs in it. While we're here, I'm going to put a strip of engine assembly lube on every cam lobe. Give this thing the best chance of survival. Get our gears installed. Crazy how much this thing's actually starting to look like a motor now. That is almost perfect, really. I think the exhaust cam has to tilt in a hair, and I think I'm basically dead money on this. All right. So we want to tighten this, and then we're going to tighten these. And so it'd be intake side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is all 9. And we do have the engine set to top dead center, so we're not going to run into that issue. We don't need valves kissing pistons. Ain't nobody getting married in this garage. All the small caps are 10 foot-pounds, and I want to say this is 17 foot-pounds for the big cap. Look at that, this thing even does 10 foot-pounds. Do I trust it? Not in particular, but we're gonna use it. Gotta love Pittsburgh. It'll be accurate or it won't, I'll tell you that much. I always get iffy about this thing if it's actually gonna click or not. I know we got to do 40 foot-pounds on the cam bolts. I just don't understand where they said this thing was hexagonal and to grab it with a wrench. Because there really isn't a great spot to grab. Oh, there it is. I'll have to jump out and bite me. So we now have our cams installed. We're going to go ahead and start installing the timing chain. Guides, and we're going to install the chain. This thing just kind of flops around until you install the tensioner. I want to say that the torque spec on this is like 80 inch-pounds, like another floor drive bolt. Like it seems like most things on the engine are. I feel like I should leave this off, or at least loose enough that I can swing it back to set this. That should be a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to adjust our intake cam, get it lined up with our timing mark there, kind of like that, but that's a link off. And we need to go forward to right here. So that needs to move forward to where that one is. That one is set up nice and perfect. That means my exhaust needs to come forward. We're going to clear that and go right there. There's tension there. Flip that forward. Sometimes it don't pay to be an idiot. I don't feel like that's right. And so I'm gonna go with my gut after reading all data. That's lined up, that's lined up, and this is lined up. So I'm just gonna assume I'm not 100% at top dead center, and that's what's causing these to not perfectly be in line. But I think it's close enough that we should be fine. I'll probably take a pry bar and keep tension over this and spin it over Or maybe I'll just stop second guessing myself and call it good enough. We are going to get ready to start applying RTV and put in our front main seal. So we are going to start by putting in our front main seal. That way it is ready to go once we have the RTV in place. And we are that much closer. I'm actually kind of excited to hear this engine run. Go ahead, give it the tepid attacky. This thing's going in about as sideways as I could have asked for. So glad I got 2 of these. Probably could have literally just pushed this thing in with my finger. Alright. She's flush now, so probably should have just tried that from the beginning. So this is the RTV pattern we're going to be going for. So let's give it a shot. I don't know how good I'm going to be at this. This is definitely one of those more interesting looking patterns. My hand. I know they want RTV down to there. I don't know why. Then they have you doing some like really weird movements on this. So it looks pretty good. I completely forgot to hit film while I was setting that up. But we put some RTV there. I'm just trying to get all the bolts in place so that we don't have an issue. I heard my camera shut off and I said I wasn't filming. I think the level of disappointment in my voice would have amused almost anybody when I found out I was not filming that. Well, the timing cover's on, guys. Right now, I am not too worried about torque other than just getting clamping force down on this timing cover. I don't think this is the nut that went there, but it's the same thread pitch. And if it fits, it ships. I think some of these were lost in translation because I don't understand how 13 Newton meters is 10 inch-pounds. So it's going to go to 80 inch-pounds on all of them. Alright, they're all at 80 inch-pounds. So we gotta put it in this bracket. They say to apply sealant to the threads. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like ratcheting all night. Cool, timing cover's on. We're gonna go to 35 foot-pounds on that. I hate setting RTV because I always feel like I gotta be in a rush. These are 35 foot-pounds. Feels reckless. I was wondering if that was actually gonna click. And then the tensioner is 51 and like 23, something like that. 17? Yes. I was just about to say I ain't going tighter than that, and then it clicked. Nut goes to 21. That's not the right size. That's the right size. Let's run that down. Nut goes to 21. So our timing cover's all torqued down. We're gonna put our belt tensioner in. Belt tensioner. This is the coolest belt tensioner you'll ever see, guys. This is probably 80 inch-pounds. I say that as a joke, but it's probably pretty accurate. Oh no! Oh no! I didn't torque any of those. I'm gonna tear this back apart. I'm gonna torque the timing cover bolts that I didn't torque. I ain't never been so disappointed in myself. Are you telling me I torqued these? Oh, see, I knew I didn't. I was. I'm gonna clean this back up. I'm gonna torque those. I'm gonna put this back on tomorrow. I'll catch you guys then. Why? Why I do this to myself? Why? You were all torqued down and I was all happy. So, after the last time I did this and forgot to, you know, actually torque the timing cover guides, I did torque them. I made sure I did, triple checked it. So we are going to again re-RTV this timing cover. My only advantage is I've already done it once, so I have a pretty good idea what I'm doing now. And I just got RTV all over my fingers. That is awesome. Where'd I put my hand cleaning wipes? As you can see, there's yellow dots because I torqued it, and I didn't want to second guess myself this time. I know it's done. I feel like in a way, it's good that I forgot to tighten those timing chain guides because I had forgotten to film this portion of it. I never actually pressed film when I set the camera up. Making my way downtown. Eating cheese, I'm cold now, battered at the dock. And now I wonder. I am just going to run these down to the cover and then we'll follow torque specs. So we're going to go ahead, put our intake on. Do have the crank sensor installed. Intake gasket. Yep, that goes here. Intake is back installed. Got our new dipstick tube reinstalled. Well, not really new, but it'll get installed. Might be mildly helpful if I remembered how this thing went together. I did get us a cheapo oil filter. I figure this is going to be on there for about 50 miles just while we seed everything. That's when I find out Google told me the wrong oil filter, probably. Oh, cool. It's about time we have an oil filter on this thing. Remember, Fram for long-lasting engines. I know that's going to trigger people. Should probably set my timing chain tensioner into place before I accidentally roll this motor over and start destroying brand new valves. So when you install this, you want this little rod facing up. Alright, that is in. Go ahead and slap old girl on. Well, let's see if we feel any crunchies. Well, as you can see, we jumped a tooth because these links should be on these dots. So I'm going to tear this all back down again, but I'm going to do that off camera, and I'm not going to do that right now because I just set this RTV for a second time and I don't feel like doing it for a third time today. So we're going to put on everything else that we can other than basically the valve cover, and we'll come back to this once we get all that on. It should be 12s. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and spin these down, set the intake. Like I said, I really don't feel like redoing the timing again right now. So we'll do everything else we can, and we'll come back to it. Well, I'm not going to make you guys watch it again. I might have went on a little bit easier if I didn't have it torqued up against the support bolt down low. We will grab new spark plugs and slap those down in. I didn't realize how much gap that valve cover added. Wanted to make sure before I got too far that these weren't longer than the other spark plugs I had. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead, pull the studs. I don't know if this one will come out. If not, not the biggest deal, and it don't want to. So we'll leave that one be and do the ones that we can do. Because at least with the two on each side's coming out, we can still clean the mating area. We'll set our studs back in, put our gasket on, we'll have our exhaust on. Now it is just exhaust. It ain't my biggest worry if this thing isn't absolutely perfect. The gasket will make up for any imperfections in terms of the mounting surface. I've seen people just slap gaskets on and be just fine, not even clean the surface. Gaskets on. Getting all of our nuts started, and there's a bolt down low that holds the bottom of the manifold. We're going to go ahead and get the rest of this exhaust manifold on. Get all these out. We'll put our cover on. As we are done on this side of the engine, other than some hoses, I do have a new exhaust donut. I'm not going to put that on until we're putting the engine in the car. I don't feel like having it fall off and then having a big old headache trying to get to it and all the shenanigans. I'm going to go ahead and pull these injectors. I'm going to put new O-rings on the injectors. Looks like these are relatively either new or cleaned up. I mean, I wouldn't say that these are the same age as this vehicle is. They're Denzas, they might be original. I don't know. As soft as these O-rings are, I have a feeling these injectors were replaced on the thought that they were bad. And all they had was a blown head gasket and some bad bearings. And honestly, they probably would have been fine if all they did was replace the head gasket. There is a slight difference on these gaskets. If I were to flip this over, it'd sit up off the head a little bit. So I'm just going to put them to where they sit right and keep on rolling. I feel like these O-rings aren't right. Guess we'll find out when we fire the car up. So go ahead and put the injectors back in. Give a little bit of the Vaseline on the O-rings so they slide in easier. I have a feeling I'll be redoing these O-rings because they don't feel tight enough. Alright. So I got our spacers for the fuel rail in place. Why'd you pop out on me? I need to see if my head has that bolt in it. I wonder what size bolt that was. It'd be really awesome if it was you. You look close, so I'm gonna leave that there for now. Fuel rail is secured. Put this bolt in. I am going to pull the timing cover back off now. And I'll catch you guys when we're putting the valve cover on. So after probably way too many attempts of setting our timing cover and setting our timing, we're ready to put our valve cover on. I put a little bit of, that's a lot more than I thought was a little bit. I put a little bit of RTV where metal meets metal, just to avoid any potential leaks. I hope I don't have to take this thing back off. Start all of our bolts. Where's the magnet? So everything except for these are 10s, these are 12s. So I'm gonna set those up with their own little socket. I'm not torquing them down just yet. Just running them down to the valve cover. Now, I know this valve cover ain't perfect. I tried. And we will be setting a wiring harness on it. I know a lot of these hoses that are on the motor currently are pretty tore up. So we are going to swap those out with our not so torn up ones. We got ourselves some new spark plug wires. So we got that set up. Let's go ahead and get these hoses off. And just a quick heads up, if you're in the market for hose clamp pliers, these are made in the US. At least the washer is. It could be made in China underneath the rivet. But either way, for like just under 16 bucks off the Corolla truck, I have 2 pair of these. The first pair I've had for like a year. I warranted them once, and I was like, I want a pair for the garage too. So just a little quick recommendation for you when you see me using them. Man, this must be awesome to replace in a car. Some of these spaces are just a little too tight, and angled pliers can be your best friend. So it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't know where I just set those. Where'd I put my squiggly bob? Oh, better be careful, it might bite me in the face. All of our hoses are basically back on now. We're gonna go ahead and start running the harness. So setting up our wiring harness. Now this sits down in here like this, and I'm kind of just guessing from here on out because I don't remember. I put the fuel injectors in upside down. Sometimes it is just better to be lucky, because I feel stupid right now. Remember, if you subscribe, you can see more incidents like that. I feel like tonight's gonna be one of them nights. I mean, these were eBay Express coil packs with spark plugs for 40 bucks. No, I did not put those spark plugs in here. But the point of this is, this probably ain't actually gonna fit, because the cheapest coils I could find that weren't with spark plugs for like $120 a set. Well, given that these coil packs don't fit right, I was on camera a little bit. I got this one to click in. This one pushed my harness pin into the socket. I had to pull that out. I would never buy coil packs from Kintop. I'm just gonna put old ones back on that ran. Are they pretty? Not at all. They're quite nasty actually, but they're better than what I got. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by the numbering, but I'm gonna assume they mean 1432. Goes on so smooth when it's a good part. Everything else is once we get it in the car. So with that, guys, our engine is done. And next week we are going to get it in the car and fire it up. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next week.